Morning, let's explore, or at least answer, a question from social media. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. Welcome to Meditate Like a Jedi. This is the Lama you are looking for. This morning we could chant and meditate and enjoy a lesson or two. But first, if you love Star Wars and you wish to meditate as transformatively as Luke Skywalker on Dagobah under the guidance of Yoda, be sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell. If at any point during this morning's live stream you have a question about meditation or philosophy or even chanting, there is no need to be shy. Simply type your question in the chat window on the right-hand side of the screen. So, Cartrav posted a very good question. How do I become more disciplined about meditating every day? Cartrav wrote, I need to do it every day. I see a notable difference in so many things when I meditate. Increased focus, less irritable, better able to tolerate hard feelings and pain. Yet I don't do it every day. I use Insight Timer app, and the tracker does help because it makes me want to get a streak, and I have a reminder on my phone to do it every day, yet I do not. So let us explore this good-hearted person's question. It is a good thing that you feel you're lacking in self-discipline. Forcing yourself to do something is an excellent way of developing an aversion. Believe it or not, when quote-unquote trying for a baby, making love and climaxing can sometimes feel like a chore, which is lame, is it not? To all my high school friends out there, to all my junior high school friends out there, it seems inconceivable, does it not? So when we force ourselves to do something, regardless of how pleasurable it is, we can undermine the reward centers of our brain and turn this classically pleasurable thing into something painful. So the very fact that you feel you don't have the ability to force yourself is a good thing. It gives you the space, the opportunity to set yourself up for success. The Buddha taught in a discourse known by the Theravadas as the Eight Failings of the World and known in Tibet as the Eight Worldly Dharmas. The Buddha taught that all humans, whether we know it or not, whether we are aware of it or not, we all hate scarcity, pain, scorn, and obscurity. And we all crave plenty, pleasure, praise, and fame. Whether we know it or not, whether we feel it or not, whether we're aware of it or not. And that's not down to a quote-unquote belief in a self. That's not down to stinking thinking. That's not because of pride. It's because of evolution. We evolved to hate the things that undermine our ability to survive long enough to rear children, and we evolved to associate tremendous pleasure to the things whose presence can help us to live long enough to rear children. Because evolution's a basic bitch. Evolution cares only about then creating the next generation. That's it. After we've done, that's one of the reasons why after we leave child rearing rage, our telomeres go bye-bye and we start aging really quick. You know, it's kind of like, it's like our genes are like done with us. They're like, okay, down to the next generation. Here we go. So I think we can all agree evolution's a basic bitch. Evolution can be a cruel mistress, but we are wired this way. What is addiction other than a dysfunction of our dopamine-oriented reward system? It is our dopamine-oriented reward system that can make even a brain-dead adult fight for the next breath of air. It is deep and powerful, and it can be a tremendous ally. Yes, I can hear fundamentalists and regressives gasping and clutching their imaginary pearls, but bear with me. Thanks to, it was, wow, way back in 93 was the first time I read the Anapanasati Sutta. And it was there that I was exposed to the idea of bliss and joy and energy, not as the rewards of enlightenment, but as prerequisites thereof. Therefore, we can conclude from this ancient meditation manual that the only productive meditation is a pleasurable meditation. Let that sink in. There was a famous Kadampa teacher whose nickname, when translated from the Tibetan into English, was Grim-Faced Geshe. Around the world, you will find rigid, controlling, grumpy people who think they can grump their way to enlightenment, even though the Buddha said no, the path to enlightenment is paved with bliss and joy and zeal and enthusiasm. But these guys, they feel like they can grump their way down the road. Grump, 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 grump. And clearly we know what grumpiness is. No one makes it through life without feeling grumpy a hell of a lot, many times. But grumpiness is not a virtue. Grumpiness is not an asset. So many times we think, or we're told, that we can use rage and bitterness to get ourselves to do something. And yes, we can, in the short term. But in the long term, it won't work. We evolved to be hedonists. I don't know if you're like me. As a disabled fellow, I spent most of my life on the couch watching TV sideways. And so I saw a lot of black and white movies with, you guessed it, Bob Hope. And Bob Hope's, he basically kept playing the same person in every movie, and that's fine. He played a cowardly hedonist. And we can all relate to that because we are all wired to experience fear and desire. In fact, we are the descendants of the most cowardly and the most hedonistic, the ones who ran the furthest and the fastest away from every threat to their lives, and who ran the fastest and the furthest towards every pleasure in their lives, because we evolved to experience tremendous pleasure for that which causes us to live long enough to rear young. I know, it's weird. That same pleasure system does not lead to fulfillment, does not lead to peace, does not lead to healthy relationships, but it's great for pushing out the puppies. Therefore, a wise individual will pursue meditation hedonistically. Way back in the 60s, cue the psychedelic music. Way back in the 60s, what was his face? The English Episcopal priest who became an expert in Taoism and Zen. Alan Watts. Alan Watts said, caution in a book, I don't recall which one, not to push yourself to meditate. You know, to say, yesterday I made it 5 minutes, tomorrow it'll be 5.5. It's easy for us in our goal-oriented enthusiasm to do that. However, it will bear bitter fruit. It will turn us into a grim-faced geshe. Better to meditate hedonistically. And so the question, and I don't make the mistakes I made in my stupidity, in my youth, in elementary school, maybe it was 6th grade. I remember thinking, what's the most painful way to stretch? Because clearly the most painful way is the most effective way. Numerous sports-oriented injuries later, I've come to the other opposite conclusion, that just because something is difficult does not mean it is good, no less better. Hence, enter the word, the magic word, the important word, sustainability. The key to being successful in every endeavor is to do it in the most sustainable way. Sadly, that's not always obvious. That's why the wise learn from the people who have been at it a long time so that they will not have to reinvent the wheel. And if the blunders of my life can help you to prevent needless blunders and accomplish what I've accomplished in less time and with greater ease, then woohoo! That's awesome. Let's make that happen. So the key is to meditate in a way that is most sustainable, that is most pleasurable, that churns out the most peace and wisdom and joy and love. Beware of people who say, don't test the teachings, just practice them blindly, regardless of the results you get. And in just 7 or 8 kalpas, you'll become a Buddha. Hey, the Buddha said it could be done in a week. So forget this multiple lifetime hooey. Meditate in a way that transforms you from a cranky little Darth Vader to a happy and whimsical and playful Qui-Gon Jinn. It is my intention that the way I've structured today's contemplation and meditation will do just that. So, assuming that you've had the very good fortune to find a silly, goofy teacher who shares techniques with you that work and that are pleasurable to employ. Now we have the application. And here's the trick. To just jump into the deep end of the pool when you can't swim is less than brilliant. So, if you give yourself permission to practice, I often think in terms of rounds of breath. And I found that if you practice, you can count 16 rounds of breath on your left hand. 1 breath, and you can advance your thumb on each inhalation. 1 breath, 2 breath, 3 breath, 4, 8, 12, 16. So you can count to 16 on the creases and tips of the fingers of your left hand with your trusty thumb. That's great. On your right hand, you can count sets of 16. And when you get to 16 sets of 16, that's approximately 30 minutes. So if you do 16 sets of 16 rounds of contemplation, followed by 16 sets of 16 rounds of meditation, well, that's an hour. Wunderbar. Das ist wunderbar. Great. But few people can do that therapeutically the first time. Totally understandable. So if you wanted to, you could progress at just do the first week practice for just 16 breaths, which is less than 5 minutes. And every week you could add an additional set of 16 breaths. By the end of your 32nd week, you could be remarkably comfortable with contemplating and meditating for an hour. So as long as, there's no unforeseeable digital Armageddon, I could get hit by a truck tomorrow. All my live streams will remain on YouTube for as long as someone, one of my survivors, keeps my account active on YouTube. And you can download all my stuff from my website for free, totally free. So the stuff is here. You can spend a leisurely 32 weeks hedonistically growing progressively more and more comfortable with incrementally longer and longer sessions. And if you practice right, and if I teach right, it'll be pleasurable. It's kind of like, in fact, it might be so pleasurable that you want to progress faster than 16 breaths a week. That's fine. Remember the first time you were sexually active. Remember the enthusiasm with which you jumped into it. Ah, the power of hedonism. So whether you practice incrementally or with hedonistic enthusiasm, this is how we become meditation. Happy, joyful, peaceful, loving, wise meditation masters. I'd like to start actually, we already did that. So I'd like to start on the formal practice. But first, let's pause for 1 minute of housekeeping. Every day I live stream 4 meditation classes, health permitting. They are performed without any ads whatsoever, any advertisements. With your assistance, this channel could come to help support the next generation of nuns, monks, yogis, lamas, and even brick-and-mortar meditation centers, each replete with a resident teacher and their apprentice. If this sounds like a good idea to you and you'd like to help out even for as little as the cost of 1 cup of coffee a month, just use your smartphone's camera to capture this QR code. If you're old school, you're welcome to scroll down into the description area and find one of my donation links if you feel more comfortable with that. And now, let's chant. I guess I'm over here. Here we go. Let's begin by strengthening the neural pathways responsible for empathy and enthusiasm, merely by chanting the recitations of bodhicitta and refuge. May I liberate all beings from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging, by relying on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students. I put my hands in the puckered palm position in front of my lips and throat and upper chest as a way of managing my body's energy in a way that makes centering much, much easier to do. May I liberate all beings from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging by relying on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students. May I liberate all beings from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging by relying on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students. Let us chant Acharya Buddharakkhita's translation of the Metta Sutta. Who seeks to promote his welfare, having glimpsed the state of perfect peace, should be able, honest, and upright, gentle in speech, meek and not proud. Contented he ought to be, easy to support, not over busy, and simple in living. Tranquil his senses, let him be prudent, and not brazen nor fawning on families. Also he must refrain from any action that give the wise reason to reprove him. Then let him cultivate the thought, may all be well and secure, may all beings be happy. Whatever living creatures that be without exception, weak or strong, long, tall, or middle-sized, short, minute, or bulky, whether visible or invisible, and those living far or near, the born and those seeking birth, may all beings be happy. Let none deceive or decry his fellows anywhere. Let none wish others harm in resentment nor in hate. Just as with her own life a mother shields from hurt her own son, her only child. Let all embracing thoughts of all beings be yours. Cultivate an all-embracing mind of love for all throughout the universe, on all its height, depth, and breadth. Love that is untroubled and beyond hatred or enmity. So let's pause for a second. Love that is untroubled. So in other words, non-neurotic love. You can tell by the size of my nose. I am a secular Jew, which means when a loved one is late, I just have an instinctual reaction to think, oh, they must be dead in a ditch. And that's what we call neurotic love. This is non-neurotic love. Let's continue. As you stand, walk, sit, or lay, so long as you are awake, pursue this awareness with all your might, for its mastery is heaven on earth. Holding no more to wrong beliefs with virtue and vision of the ultimate, and having overcome the tyranny of all sensual desire, never in a womb is one born again. Cowabunga. So, I'm grateful to the amalgam of teachers I've had, and together they have taught me that our job is not to concentrate, but to rest the mind. And often the mind, just like a child, resists resting unless it sufficiently exerts itself. So we can consider contemplation, especially in the Tibetan tradition, to be a prerequisite of meditation. And in such a manner, we can think of concentration as a workout and meditation as a rest. So come, let us practice intellectual push-ups. We're going to, so in Buddha, in the Anapanasati Sutta, the Buddha was very keen on demonstrating, on dividing experience in terms of 4 bases of mindfulness. The sequence we're going to explore would be the circumstantial, the physical, the interpersonal, and the mental. So the basic outline we're going to play with is we're going to blend compassion with the 3 marks of reality. So contrary to popular belief, I did not make this shit up. I would love it if I was that clever, but sadly I'm not. So you might notice a bunch of words on this page. The stuff up here we play with if we are just in abject turmoil. If you're having a flashback about something that horribly happened, or that might have happened, or that could happen, then you play with these exercises right here until you feel human again. But if you're not in that situation right now, let's just jump in the water. So our primary tool is our rhetorical questions. More than approximately 7/8 of all our exercises, I take that back. Approximately 3/4 of all our contemplations are going to be rhetorical questions. And rhetorical questions are easy because we get to ask a question silently and mentally in harmony with our inhalation and our exhalation and our relaxation. And we don't want to do the heavy lifting of answering it. In fact, it works better if we don't try to. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the word, where's the cursor? We're going to use the word lot, or in this case the plural, which would be lots. And we're going to use it as a monosyllabic synonym for circumstances. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring the circumstantial into the path of vulnerability and ask them a very uncomfortable question. How could circumstances feel stressful? I recommend sitting as tall as you can as you breathe in and relaxing as best you can as you breathe out. Even though I mentioned counting to 16 breaths, I'm going to be counting to 4 breaths per exercise. And that's done simply by not counting the tips, just counting the creases. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now, when you're practicing alone, it's great to count. When you're practicing with me, if you count, you will notice that I'm breathing faster than you because I'm doing all this talking. So don't force yourself to, count as fast as I am. So if that means you're doing less than 12 reps, that's fine. That's fine. Don't beat yourself up. Remember, this is supposed to be fun and pleasurable. Not unlike lovemaking. Fun and pleasurable. Now we're going to bring circumstances into the path of compassion. We're taking a break from rhetorical questions and playing just with an intention. A lot stress, may I soothe now? You might say, dude, I'm not Gandalf the Grey. How can I soothe other people's stress? That's not your job. Well, all we do is silently and mentally recite these words. In harmony with our inhalation and our exhalation and our relaxation, we will make progress on the path. We now return to our rhetorical questions that we're going to use to now explore impermanence, humanity's only constant. We continue now to our fourth contemplation, where we explore how circumstances could not be me. We do not play with this to indulge blind faith or skullduggery. We play with this to get better and better at letting go. Pardon. I found the most powerful contemplation to be passive contemplation. We are already wired to notice during each inhalation thanks to our sympathetic nervous system. We are already wired to let go during each exhalation due to our parasympathetic nervous system. If we just shut up and let our autonomic nervous system do the work it evolved to do, we can become fully enlightened remarkably easily and insanely quickly. And having contemplated circumstances rather thoroughly, we now proceed from the circumstantial to the physical. And we're going to play with the same 4 exercises, merely adapting them to a different subject. We're going to use the word forms as a monosyllabic synonym for body. We switch now from contemplating. We switch now to bringing the physical into the path of compassion. Teaming this point and that was delightfully invigorating. Let us bring our experience of the physical into the path of selflessness, deeper into the path of letting go. We switch gears now from the physical to the interpersonal, bringing the interpersonal in deeper into the path of vulnerability. Remember, a nickname for the interpersonal would be the ties that bind, which we shrink in its monosyllabic aspect would simply be the word tie. Let us bring our experience of the interpersonal into the path of compassion. Let us bring the interpersonal into the path of impermanence, that letting go may grow easier and easier. Beware of fools who try to frighten you with tales of impermanence and unfortunate rebirth, for fear is antithetical to love and breeds resentment. Better yet, to always work out of love and the desire to let go. Let us bring the interpersonal into the path of selflessness that we may easier let go. We switch gears now from the interpersonal to the mental, and contrary to the ravings of armchair psychologists, mental phenomena are real phenomena. Now, when we say mental phenomena, what do we mean? Well, perceptually, our minds are wired to perceive sights, sounds, sensations, flavors, scents, and the like, as well as perceive emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, and imaginings. Let us bring the mental into the path of vulnerability. Let us bring the mental into the path of compassion. Let us bring the mental into the path of impermanence, that we may better let go. Welcome to this morning's live stream. When you have questions about meditation or philosophy, simply type them in the chat window in as detailed manner as you can. Let us bring the mental into the path of selflessness for the sole reason of getting better and better at letting go. Remember, these questions are rhetorical. We switch gears now from the workout of contemplations to the rest of meditation. So, our job is not to concentrate, our job is not to force ourselves, our job is to relax. Let us lovingly wish wisdom, peace for all minds. It is not our job to force ourselves to emote or to visualize. If all we do is silently and mentally recite these words in harmony with our inhalations and our exhalations and our relaxations, we will make progress on the path. Let us bring the interpersonal deeper into the path of love. Whoops. Yeah, that'll work. So when we say joyful love for all ties, that would be our professional relationships, our personal relationships, our platonic relationships, and our intimate relationships. Let us bring the physical into the path of love. Let us bring the circumstantial, let us relax into circumstantial love. May I, like the Buddha, master the Eightfold Path as well as liberate others. May each being take auspicious rebirth, master the Buddha's path, and then help all others do likewise. May all beings practice self-kind communication, conduct, and calmness, flow spontaneous and uncontrived. May everyone be free from stress, may everyone be happy. May no one be separated from the happiness. May everyone have balance from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging freed. If you feel I have earned it, type something in the chat window. Give this live stream a thumbs up and share it on social media. In approximately 2 1/3 hours, I would very much like to return to lead this mid-morning's meditation. Until then, may you and yours be happy and healthy. And if you are as geeky as me, this is the way.